Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome to Modernize or Die. It's a CFML News podcast, and it's December 10th, and Grant is joining me once again. How's it going, Grant?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I can't believe it's episode 224, but the 24 is even closer because it's almost Christmas. I can't believe it snuck up on us again.
It does it every time.
I know. It's this year is flying by. But yeah, it's a little foggy where I'm at. You got some cold weather where you're at?
It's warmed up the past couple days, but yeah, it's been getting like down into the 20s and stuff. And my like hands just stay like ice constantly. So, but now I think today it's in the 50s, so a little bit better.
Cool. Yeah, last year I had a hot Christmas in New Zealand. This year, sticking it out in the US. So we'll see how that all works out.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into it, I just want to say thanks to our sponsor, Order Solutions. They make ColdBox, CommandBox, ForgeBox, TestBox, and all the other boxes out there. Well, not all of them, but most of them, but including Boxlang, which we're getting very close to a stable release. Some cool stuff happening there. Maybe Grant will give us a little bit of a info update later on that. But some ways you can say thanks to Order Solutions. Buy tickets to Into the Box 2025. We'd love to see you guys out there in Washington, D.C. We had lots of fun last year, and we're looking forward to another big conference with a lot of great information and even more Boxlang stuff. A lot of cool CFML stuff as well, and we will be announcing the speakers soon. So again, if you buy tickets to that'd be great. There's workshop day and conference days as well, so we'll tell you more in the conference section. But yeah, we'd love to see you there. Obviously, like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. If you hit that little bell as well, you get the reminder. So when we do actually show up for a podcast, if we don't miss a week like last week, you get the little notification when we go live as well. So that's important. Like star and fork out repos. It's always a big way to help. Do that to every CFML repo you use to. Just FYI, it helps everything. Subscribe to our podcast on our podcast apps. Leave us a review. We try and check the reviews. If we see a good review, we'll read it on the show as well. We have free and paid accounts on CFcast, which is a great way to see new content, videos, and other training materials. That should be seeing ITB 2024 videos very soon. I just reminded them that, hey, it's still not live yet, so should be anytime now. So if you're a subscriber, you should be able to see those ITB videos, even if you didn't attend, very soon. Box Life, we got a store on the website, ordersolutions.com. You can see some cool Box Life shirts, and we got some books as well. So we got 102 Cold Box HMVC quick tips and tricks that is available on Gumroad, and we have hardcover on Amazon as well. And then let's learn modern CFML in 100 minutes as well. And Grant's in the right account, so we can post links. That's always a win. So, but yeah, so a lot of different ways you can help. Of course, filing issues and pull requests and everything else helps too. So it makes us help build a bigger community, and that's what we're all about. But we also have some Patreon supporters. So we're up to 59 Patreon supporters right now. So patreon.com/ordersolutions. You can see some different packages there, and there are some perks for some of the packages. So at the end of the show, when we read out some of our top Patreons, we'll also tell you a little bit more about those packages and why you should think about becoming one. And we really appreciate each of them because they spend their hard-earned money to support us and our open source projects. And so that's a really big win, and it helps the whole community. So very cool. Okay, well, let's get into the news and announcements, and we got some pretty big ones.
Yeah, we do. Adobe CF 2025 beta is now open. And if you're interested in signing up for it, you'll get early access to the forums and where you can test this out. And I think they've even included some prizes into this as well.
Yeah, make your voice heard and win big. So yeah, weekly engagement challenges every week. They'll reward top contributors with exciting prizes. So that's a cool way to make sure we get more feedback, because obviously if everyone waits till after they release it, it's a lot harder to make changes. So, if you're using
Very
Adobe
much.
Cold Fusion 2025, the beta is a place to give your feedback now before they make it solid and release it. But yeah, they've got some deep dive sessions and demo code access as well. So
And looks like a Git repository too, where all that demo code will be. So probably easy to pull down and get involved. So
yeah, very cool. We'll talk about it a little bit more in the meetup section, but yeah, they do have a lot of sessions, and I think they've already had 5 sessions last week and starting this week. So there's a lot of sessions in that. So if you're Adobe Cold Fusion user, beta is a great place to go. Check out what they're doing, give that feedback, and see what's going on, and get ready for the next release. So very cool. We also had a test box release just recently, and they've also got a new test box site. So just in case you missed it, we wanted to remind you, but we've updated the website. So basically it's got more chance to, give you more resources. We updated all the documentation as well. So we try to make things even easier and make your testing more efficient than ever before. So definitely want to go check that one out, and I'll share the link here so you guys can go see that blog and the links there. But yeah, a lot of cool things, and finally Testbox has modules now. Woo! Only been asking forever. So Testbox modules means we can do things a little bit more integrated. Has lifecycle events you can tap into and everything, so it's pretty cool. So some big updates in Testbox 6. So yeah, go check
very
those
nice.
out. And the new releases and updates, in case you missed it, CommandBox 6.1.0 was released just about a month ago now, but a lot of cool stuff in there. You probably heard us talking a lot about the WebSocket server, which was a big cool thing that Brad worked on and released, and a lot of fun stuff there. There's more updates on it to help run Boxlang better. You can also use commands now to deploy Lucy, Lex, or ICO or LCO files. And also some more hash validation and things like that. But there have been some updates in Undertow to 2.233 final, and Lucy 5.469 is now the underlying version, and they updated the Jerry bundle as well. So quite a few new things.
That's the Gavin. That's that Lucy version. Is that the underlying version of Command Box itself? That's
Yes,
using.
yep,
Oh,
exactly. That's what it's using under the covers, per se. So, because when obviously, if you guys didn't know, Command Box itself is basically the CLI built using Cold Fusion. So we have to have one engine in there, and currently that is Lucy. But yeah, I'm sure Brad will be releasing the Boxlang version of it
it's gonna
later.
be
So
boxing.
yep, so
He
it'll be
might be boxing too. You never
yeah.
know.
So, but yeah, so basically the Boxlang server runs right now from Command Box. So when Command Box starts up, it's using Lucy to run things, and then it runs a server, which then runs Boxlang. So, but yeah, eventually it will run something else. So you can still run on whatever engine you want. But yeah, the Lucy 5469 is the version that actually Command Box itself is running to make everything happen. But yep, so a lot of cool stuff in there. If you haven't got it, check it out. There are a few bugs too, so 9 bugs were fixed in that release. So if you're running 6.0, you probably want to get that updated ASAP to fix any of those bugs. Okay, and so we also have some Boxlang betas as well, right?
We do. Beta 24 launched on the 2nd, and there's 3 new features, some improvements, bug fixes. We'll post a link to that. And since the show, it's been a minute, we've also, we'll post a link also to the beta 23 there. But yeah, definitely updates coming in on Boxlang, so be sure to keep up with those.
Yep, I mean they're pretty close to every week. We had, I think, one week where we might have missed one. I know that they're punching out a lot of stuff, so they're making a lot of final changes and everything, getting ready for that stable release, a release candidate. And so yeah, in the process they're doing a lot. So we did miss see them like the 9th. I think they might have been one on the 9th. They're supposed to be, but I know they're redoing a lot of things, getting it ready for the alpha, so it might just be a little bit later with that. But yeah, for 6 months straight almost, it was every single week we had a beta release, so it was pretty neat. But a lot of cool stuff there. Okay. So we do have some webinars, meetups, and workshops. And first up, it looks like the online CF meetup.
Yep, it's from development to deployment, load testing, cold fusion applications with Dakota Klum. Hope I said your name right. But yeah, if you're interested in learning more about load testing, which this is always something that I'm kind of always curious about, like what's a modern way of going about this. We've kind of had some of the same tools for a long time. So I'm kind of curious to see if there's some new players out there to
Yeah.
help with.
And the methodology too, like what should you be load testing? How should you go about it?
Yeah.
Is it the same thing over and over and over again? Are you randomizing different stuff? Are you passing the same data? Are you randomizing it? There's a lot of things to come into consideration with load testing, and I'm definitely not an expert there. All I know is there's a lot of things to make it done right. And yeah, this looks like a good session. And so that was December 12th, so this Thursday, from 9 until 10 Pacific time, 9 a.m. So I put the link in the chat if you guys need to grab that. Obviously, we'll be posting our show notes as well, but that one's coming up quick. So thanks again, Charlie, for hosting the online CF meetup and continuing to get people out there and sharing the word. But as we mentioned before, there's some Adobe CF 2025 beta seminars as well. And so we already had on the 2nd, we had Mark Takata with Cold Fusion 2025, what's new and exciting. And then we had Paravi and Atul talk about security and stability in Adobe Cold Fusion on December 3rd. On the 4th, Vikas was talking about the VS Code plugin changes. And then on the 5th, we had Ashudeep talking about smart language additions in Cold Fusion. And then yesterday, we had performance enhancements by Selyam Mistra. And then today, I think it just finished, was Unleash the Power of Revamping CF Charts for Modern Applications with Yukti, I think. I don't know how to pronounce these names, I apologize. And then tomorrow, Nicole's going to be talking about spreadsheets and CSV processing. We got Microsoft Graph integration, Cold Fusion with OAuth. And then we got what's new in containers, and then the recap and Q&A on the 18th. So a lot of content coming your way. So if you guys are interested, again, go check out that Adobe CF 2025 beta program. Get in there, and there'll be links to all those webinars. And I think you can go back and watch them. They've recorded them on Adobe Connect. So definitely worth looking at. Lots of good content there. So thanks, Adobe, for doing that and sharing. But if you have any other meetups, let us know. I know there were a few that just completed in November. But a lot of them aren't showing up with links unless you register, so I'm not able to share all those. Sorry, everybody. But get up on meetup.com. There's quite a few that do meet up on there, so good place to keep up to date. Okay, CFcast, as we mentioned, we should be getting those ITB videos released very soon for all subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, you can purchase the package one-off. And then as soon as those are made available, all the subscribers will be able to see them. Currently, they're only there as a premium one, but I know that it should be turned pretty soon here. So I'm not sure. I thought it was a Thanksgiving present, but maybe it's a Christmas present for all you subscribers, but it should be released soon. But if you go to cfcast.com, you can find out what we have going on there. There are quite a few little recordings, so if you do miss the podcast, we do share the modules and the VS Code extension snippets up there as we go. So if you want, you can just go back and see all the cool VS Code extensions we cover this year. It's got its own little series, and same thing with the modules. So if you don't want to hear me and Grant talk too much and some of the other hosts, you can just jump through to that. So but yeah, more content coming real soon there. Okay, conferences and training. So it looks like we just had one this last week. Did you see any things pop up on your feeds, Grant, about CF Summit India?
Yeah, 2024. So this is going to be December 7th.
Yeah, it was last week.
Oh, sorry, December. It is last week. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
So yeah, I saw a few people talking about how the like sort of a bigger first glimpse of CF 2025, and there was a couple of things up on Twitter and everything about it. So I don't know if the sessions were available after the case though. That's the only thing I'm not sure. But yeah, they did have a good turnout and a good event, and there's a few people posting on X I saw. But yeah, so I'm not sure if they'll have those videos released or not, but yeah, it looked like another good turnout, and they had it in 2 cities, so Bengaluru and Noida. So it was kind of cool to see a double event, and they're doing some streaming between them. I saw one picture where there was 4 people in like a panel session at one location, and they had it on the big screen at the other location with a mediator, so ask questions back and forth. So sounds like they had a pretty cool little setup there.
Nice.
But most importantly, or the next conference on our list is ITB. So Into the Box 2025. Again, that's going to be in Washington, D.C. So Otis is putting on this conference April 30th through May 2nd. So if you want to just return the conference, just May 1st and 2nd, the April 30th is the workshop the day prior. So we have tickets and more information. I'll share the link. But basically the blind tickets are available up until we release the schedule, and we're actually meeting about that this week, trying to get all the schedule finalized so we can make that announcement. So hopefully we'll have that very soon for you. So the call for speakers is closed. We should have that out soon, and some workshop information too. But we're starting to get sponsors being announced and other things. So we're really looking forward to it. It was a good venue. We have a DJ. I was at Happy Box this time. I'm going to be doing some karaoke. So if you're a karaoke singer, come on out. We're going to have some real fun at Happy Box. So mariachi band, karaoke, food, drink, whole fusion, box slang. What else do you need, right?
No, it's all the things.
Yeah. Plus,
And it is a lot of fun.
in the state capitol too, they got all the little scooters. You can scoot all over the place. Me and the wife were scooting everywhere. Some of the other people went for walks, and pretty cool to be able to check out the sunrise, check out the war memorials and everything. It's a cool place. So great venue, great place to be, and great content. So highly recommend that. So hopefully you guys can grab those tickets before they go up. So 50% off right now, blind tickets. So jump in.
Yeah, and a reminder, if you're wanting to get ahead on travel plans, CF Camp 2025 is coming up May 22nd and 23rd. So we'll post the link to that.
Yep, and they do have a call for speakers open too. I will post that. If you're going to be traveling to Europe, it'll be cheaper if you get your hotel covered as a speaker. So, but yep. And then obviously there's always tons of conferences. There's a bunch of JavaScript ones happening all the time, and other languages too. I'm sure with all this AI and stuff, the Python conferences are probably popping pretty good. There's probably some special AI conferences just for that alone these days. So comps.tech, you can get in and see all the other conferences around, and yeah, find something near you. Okay. So blogs, yeah, blogs, posts, and videos.
So many blogs.
Yeah.
So many blogs.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, first we'll just start with a quick one from Ben Adele. I know you're probably thinking Ben and quick to make sense, but no, he's been talking about this video course. He's been watching quite a few lately, and Aaron Francis is doing quite a few videos on different database ones, and I've actually wanted to do some more. But this last one, he's talking about mastering Postgres. It's funny because he's even the first line he says, anytime you bring up databases in public, someone will inevitably suggest that Postgres or PostgreSQL can address all your data storage needs and then some. And it's basically it's like almost a religious cult like following.
Anybody I've met that uses Postgres often, they're very passionate about it. And every time I've looked at it, I'm like, there's so much here. It's almost overwhelming how much stuff that database can do.
Yeah, the extensibility is what really wins it. Because you can write extensions and add into it, and yeah, it's definitely a big one there. But he says he's really happy with this video course. It's still got a few pieces left, so if you're wanting to see what Postgres would be like, and that might be a good way to do it. I know the same guy, Aaron Francis, just did one on SQLite, which has got a pretty big uplift lately. A lot of people talking about SQLite with the local first and how simple it is to get deployed everywhere. So so Aaron Francis seems like a good place to check out database videos. I probably need to do a few just to level up my DB skills on everybody else's database too. But But yeah, Postgres is pretty neat. I've used it for a few clients. Um, they're one of the ones that actually stick to the standards, the SQL standards, probably the most, and so it's less forgiving, but very powerful, very performant. So
And have you had luck with working within Cold Fusion and CFML apps with that?
yeah,
Is
a
it?
couple of clients use it quite a lot, and so the biggest thing is case sensitivity for the columns and tables or whatever. Like just
Mm.
that got me a little bit, but yeah, other than that, most things work very similarly. And of course, if you're using something like Quick or ORM, it translates a lot of it for you, which is great. But there's definitely some really cool extensions that make Postgres really neat. So
Nice.
yep, and of course it's open source, which is pretty interesting too. And if you've ever, a lot of people talked about Firebase. Firebase, Google's thing. Superbase was an open source version that basically did what Firebase did, but basically it's an open source version of a service built on Postgres, and Postgres does all that and more. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. And Planet Scale is basically Postgres. Well, actually, no, it might be MySQL, but they changed their plans. And anyway, interesting world. We don't use databases, but we could all learn a lot more and about making them more performant. So anyway, Ben highly recommended his courses, so I'm gonna have to check him out. And I thought I should share. So, anyways, back over to you.
Next up, we've got a blog from Gregory Alexander. It is securing Cold Fusion applications using encryption and hashing. So this is always something good to look into if you haven't. And in the blog, he talks about some of the fundamentals of hashing and hashing versus encryption. What's the difference? Salt and peppering and kind of what those are and how you do them. And I think he's got some code examples there that you can look at as well.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because I've always heard a lot of salting. I hadn't heard peppering before, so that was interesting. But yeah, so it's good content. I did leave a comment on there as well, because obviously everything he was talking about, great information. But I use bcrypt, and we have for a while now, mainly because of the work factor, and so that slows down these brute force attacks even more. So put a little comment there. So things like bcrypt, anything with a work factor just means it has to work through it even more times, and so it'll dramatically slow them down. And obviously, you probably should have rate limiting and those types of things to make sure if they have so many failed passwords, it doesn't let them in anymore. So that way, they can't just rainbow table your system. But yeah, really good information. And yeah, there's definitely a difference between hashing encryption and using salts in different ways. Do you salt one salt for everybody, or do you have a different salt for every user? And how do you store it? Where do so a lot of good stuff. So
Just please do not put plain text passwords in your database, please.
yes, for sure. Yep, absolutely. But yep, so I posted a link to that. So thanks, Gregory. And he's
Yeah.
the one looking after CF blogs now too, and he actually helped us get the order solution things back in there. I guess there was a broken XML tag at some point that messed us up. So thanks, Greg, for fixing that too.
All right. And then we also have a blog by James Moberg. It's testing if an IP address is within a CIDR range. I thought this was pretty interesting, and I've kind of ran into it myself where, we're dealing with a lot more than just these like IPv4 IP addresses. Now we've got IPv6. And in this blog, he talks about, a library that he pulls in that he uses to actually do these checks. And apparently, this library talks about, I think it's Sean C. Foley IP address. It's a Java library. It's used by some big players like Google and Microsoft and Netflix. So this is something you can pull down into your CFML apps and start using if you're
Yeah.
needing to test IP ranges. So pretty cool stuff.
Yep, it's up on GitHub, so you can go check it out. But yeah, very cool. Yeah, I mean, V6 is just a different headache. Like just even something as simple as around the house checking to see which device the kids are using, like having to look at a V6 version of an IP, and I'm like, no. It's so much easier when you can just see a few little,
It
numbers.
is.
But
Yeah, anytime I see one, I don't even know what to do with it. I was dealing with one on DigitalOcean and wasn't even really sure what to do with it. Can I put this in my can I SSH into this thing? Can I what is going on with this?
yeah, it's going to be interesting as some of the old apps we get stuck using may not support some of that going forward. It'll be kind of interesting. But I guess that's what DNS is for, right? To translate it for us. So, yep. Well, next up, we actually have an Ask Ben question from Ben Adele. So he got someone who was asking about how to sort things. And the person asking had an inventory system, and they had, numbers like 800, 1,000 became 1K, and then they have like 3 million became 3M. And so they were basically, instead of just being like a natural text sort or natural numeric sort, they had to build a custom function. So Ben showed an example of how to use that because there is a dot sort method that you can use on arrays, and you can actually pass in a function to handle that. So yeah, it's kind of fun. So short and sweet. If you want to check that one out, you can. And then another one from Gregory Alexander as well. So he was talking about using CodeMirror 5, which if you guys haven't seen it, it's a pretty cool like text editor, sort of IDE type editor in your browser. So
Like
CodeMirror,
WYSIWYG
yeah,
sort of thing?
kind of, but it's more for the like text code. So I think that's what we're using inside of try Boxline now. We switched to CodeMirror because the support on mobile is a lot better. Like the Monarch, the VS Code stuff works great in the browser, but they will not, they don't, but they will not support mobile devices. So on mobile device, the VS Code stuff is not good, which is using Monaco under the covers. Anyway, so CodeMirror is another good one. So he's using that, using ColdFusion's file open and file write functions to implement some CMS functionality. So if you guys looking at CodeMirror and how you might want to use that, or some file uploading, because Gregory's using it in his CMS. So he's got the Galaxy blog that he has, and he's releasing a new version. So you guys can check that out and find out more about it. Oops, the link is too long. I'm gonna have to separate the text from the link. Oh well. And then we had another one from Benadell, associating form inputs with ColdFusion validation error types and its ColdFusion applications. Error handling, man, it's not easy, is it?
It is not.
I guess CBWire makes it a little easier where you can just use CBWire validation, CB validation on the other side. I have to
I welcome
plug
shameless
CBWire.
plugs, Gavin. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it does make a difference, that's for sure. But yeah, so anyway, he's talking up about, translating, errors from user safe error messages or, validation errors and everything. So he's got an approach there, which I thought was pretty cool because anytime he has a video too, I like it. So if you guys, looking at using input errors and want to figure out how to basically make it more meaningful for the user, check out Ben's little video and blog there. But yeah, so basically it looks at the type of error that throws, will basically translate back to a certain error message for the user. It's yeah. And so basically if you throw a certain type of error, then it will return an error type and a message. And so basically in its response, it has a lookup situation. So you can go sort of look up the error and translate it to a more user-friendly text. And so it's probably good because it's controlling it from the server side, not the UI side. I always hum and haw about that too. Should the server control the message or the client control the message? But anyway. Okay. Well, we have another one. It looks like Order Solution is going to be innovating with Boxlang at CF Camp. So we're a platinum sponsor and a keynote presenter at CF Camp. So if you guys are in the area for CF Camp in 2025 at the Munich airport, I think it's the Atomis Hotel. Yeah, the Atomis Hotel at Munich airport. We'll be there. We have workshops as well. We have platinum sponsors, so you'll see us in the keynote, see us in the workshop, and we'll have some sessions there too. So come check out Order Solutions and Boxlang. Yeah, they've been doing so much cool stuff with Boxlang. It's kind of crazy. So
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
okay, I'll post that, and then we have one more thing too from Ben Adele. Actually, probably got a couple more, but I one I'll just mention quickly. So he's exploring Cloudflare R2 and the request authorization using AWS Signature v4. So a lot of these things, a real cool thing about them, like S3, at least they stick to a standard. So if you're using S3 or if you're using Cloudflare, Cloudflare's equivalent is R2, and I think QRS. So R is before S and two's before three, so that's why we think we named it R3. I don't know if that's the case, but someone said that one time. It's like R is before S on the list.
That's amazing.
So I don't know if it's that or not. They have some other weird names for the Cloudflare stuff, so maybe not. But anyway, so basically you should be able to use the same tools you're using for S3 for Cloudflare's R2. And so Ben walks through using AWS's Signature v4, and the AWS module supports the v4 signatures now too. So yeah,
So
good.
many features in Cloudflare too. I'm I only have like the free plan and it's got so much stuff in it. I don't know
Right.
that this is free, but yeah, just the features in Cloudflare.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely trying to make it easier. They're looking for different market. It's kind of strange though, because they're offering more and more and more. It's getting more and more complicated too, just kind of like Amazon. But at least it's
Yeah.
not 190 services or whatever Amazon has.
Yet.
So yet, yeah. But they're definitely adding a major chunk of them. So Cloudflare's got a lot of great offerings. So yeah. So if you're thinking about using Cloudflare's S3 equivalent R2, then definitely check this blog post out. So what else do we have?
That might be it. Let's see.
We got a Otis recap of November for you as well. You can
Oh yeah.
check that out there. And I think we covered most of the points probably, but
Yeah. Socket box, manbox 6.1.
yep. And then it looks like we got some marketing as well. So obviously Otis has
Stuff
to do
on,
marketing too.
yeah.
So
Some things on data breaches, just really the importance of security audits and about SQL injection and cross-site scripting and
yep. And then
those sorts of.
obviously Otis, we can help with that too. So we do have an audit process that we could offer. If that's something you're interested in, reach out and we can get you in touch with the right person and have a look at that for you. And then we did already cover the 2025 beta, and so it's obviously a blog post about that as well. Oh man, more Ben. We get down a little further, almost there. It's a long week when we missed a week last week. Um, so Ben is considering encrypting passwords at rest in Cold Fusion. And so this blog is sort of looking at different ways to hash it. So bcrypt, scrypt, argon 2. And so bcrypt's pretty much an industry standard. I know it's been around for a while. I've been using it for a long time. We have ForgeBox modules on it and everything else, but I haven't used scrypt or argon 2 yet. So I might have to read this one a little bit more in depth, because I know that there's always improvements to be made and everything, but bcrypt's. I had heard that scrypt was a new version for those using bcrypt, but need to find out some more about it. So
Do you feel like, oh, so Scrypt might become the next thing, the next big thing
that's
to
what I
use?
thought I heard about it. So I'm sort of curious, yeah, what his take was on that. So there's a
Mhm.
big discussion in the comments. I should probably catch up more of this here. But yeah, I mean, like I said, bcrypt I've used for quite a bit, but I haven't, like I said, I've never even heard of Argon 2. So,
You know,
I mean, he did have a blog post, in 2021 talking about it more. So,
about Argon
mm-hmm.
too?
Argon 2 and scrypt. Um, so this one's actually a pretty good one because it talks about work factor. Talk about like FIPS 140 compliance and everything else. So yeah, interesting. So I guess, I mean, Adobe 2021 added bcrypt and scrypt so that was interesting. But you can also do other versions of it. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's been around for a while. I mean, so definitely recommend using one of them. Like you said, don't let them be unencrypted. But his one is a special use case because he's sort of doing like a URL non-authenticated type method. So he just sort of creates a temporary password and stores it. It's not really a full password like that, but still. But anyway, so yep. And he even does one talking about JWTs as well. So we got another post there. So Ben's got a lot of stuff recently, but he's been working on his incident commander, so a lot of his blog posts are around that. So he's actually got more blogs than this. He's got a whole bunch on some JavaScript side of things too, where sometimes we'll share them if they're newsworthy and we want to add them in there. But we just so many blogs for this one we couldn't do them all. So if you are interested in that, Ben's got a lot more on his blog at benadell.com talking about its incident commander and using JavaScript, Alpine JS, and a few other things, and tying it all together. So, oh, and then one more from Ben. Told you there's a lot. Counting the
There's a lot.
occurrences of a substring or regex pattern in Cold Fusion. And so, basically, he was going to try and count the number of backticks in a truncated piece of code to make sure the code was balanced. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so basically, there's no native method for counting that, though. That's the problem he was running into. Like, you can find the first version of it and everything, but it's not easy with the regex just to loop through. And I found some issues with that with regex and Cold Fusion. Sometimes, like you can use grouping for some functions, but not others. So it's kind of strange that sometimes you can use it and the groupings will work, and then you can reference back to them, and other ones you can't. So we'll have to improve that in Boxlang to make it easier. So anyway, so if you're looking at counting occurrences of substring, Ben talks about how he battled through that. And then we got some Boxlang ones too. So we're not done with blogs completely. It's just now it's the Boxlang one. So we got a sort of a marketing piece so you can maybe give to your boss why Boxlang is the modern software development evolution you've been waiting for. So it talks about some of the reasons why we started Boxlang from Audis. Obviously it's an ambitious project, but there's a lot of things we wanted to tackle and we couldn't do that leveraging the tools we already had, and so we wanted to improve that. So I'll share that. Obviously you probably heard it if you listen to the podcast. We like Boxlang and we think it's a great tool. This can be some more ammunition if you need to go into your boss, convince them to look a little bit more. But the next one looks like a little release of the Boxlang stable release is being imminent.
Imminent. Yes.
Imminent. Is that a good word?
On the way.
Yes, like scary, imminent, good, bad. Maybe it's just AI is being imminent. It always scares me a little bit when I hear that word. But
Maybe.
I mean, maybe it's bad for Cold Fusion if Boxlang's that awesome. But no, there's I said a lot of work been going into it. Again, we're going through all the apps and our projects and make sure everything runs in Cold Fusion and Boxlang, trying to get everything set up and converted over. So we're very close. I think the guys even had a retreat last week where they were working like 28-hour days, working on it, trying to get things done. So I know there was a lot of things flying around. So we did release Boxlang Beta 24, December 2nd, 11/23. We released Beta 23. And then we also have a Boxlang newsletter recap as well for November. So we'll share that. But just too much good stuff going on. Well, we don't want to keep you guys too long before that. So let's say we'll wrap that up and move on to CFML jobs. So
yeah, it looks like there's a one new job listing in the past 2 weeks. I'm saying it right? Yeah, full-time Cold Fusion developer they're in Washington, D.C. We will post the link for you guys if you're interested in that.
Yep, and the company's Yekshna Solutions. I hadn't heard of them. The clearance is secret. Ooh. So
Nice.
Yexna Solutions is a CMMI Level 3 assessed ISO 9001 20000 27001 certified woman-owned small business headquartered in Herndon, Virginia. Very cool. So looks like they got a pretty good list of requirements there. So yeah, highly recommend you go check that one out if you guys are looking for a job. I see a few people posting in the Facebook groups and the Slack channels. There are some groups and Slack channel rooms as well if you want to go in there to look for more. So very cool. Was this another one? Let's see. I just saw something else posted.
If your cold fusion expertise.
It's all right. That was louder than it should have been. Sorry about that. There was a post for a job offering from the week before. So, yep. So, just one new job listing on getcfmljobs.com. So, you guys are looking, that's the place to go. Okay, next up, ForgeBox module of the week. And I think this is one that Grant picked out. So, I'll let you talk all about it.
So this one, this week's is CB Turnstile. And if I'm reading it right, it looks like it was actually released today by David Sedino. And it is it allows you to add the Cloudflare Turnstile CAPTCHA into your forms. So if you're interested in using that service, this is a module you can pull in. It's got server-side validation. It's ColdBox 7 plus ready. And yeah, just some really cool stuff. I mean, when I saw it, I actually hadn't even heard of the Cloudflare Turnstile, but I was looking at it this morning, and it looks like they've got some unique features with their CAPTCHA. Like there's no puzzles or like image challenges that you might see with some of the other ones that can be annoying.
Yeah.
Works in the background. It doesn't use tracking or cookies. And some cool stuff, and it's, from what I can tell, it's free to use.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, working with GDPR is always a big plus too. Wonder how the testability stuff works, because I know that's something you're running your test about make sure that your tests don't get locked out with robots running stuff. That's the only thing I always worry about with some of these, but obviously if you code it properly, and it seems like it's easy to integrate with JavaScript or APIs for different platforms. So
yeah,
sounds good. So very cool. So CB Turnstile. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one. I know a lot of people are trying to get away from all the Google CAPTCHA stuff, and there's HCAPTCHA and all those different ones these days. But yeah, very cool. And yeah, without having to, needing other Cloudflare services for use, it's pretty neat too. So very cool. Thanks for helping us pick that one out, Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anyone else has any other recommendations for CAPTCHA replacements too, because it's a pretty big field and no one seems to like the CAPTCHAs they're using. It's good to hear one that people like. Okay, next up, our VS Code Hint Tip Trick of the Week, and we got another one here. So Grant, which one did you pick for this week?
Well, I know we've covered this kind of in the distant past, but wanted to share it again. The code spell checker. So if you're like me, you have a lot of typos, maybe in your code comments, or maybe even in your like variable names. This will actually show you the little squiggly line, letting you know, hey, you misspelled something here. And it's a pretty awesome extension. You can customize it with project specific settings. So if you want to customize it for one project versus another, you can, and like create your own dictionaries. It's got some cool stuff, multiple languages, and yeah, it's just a really good tool if you're trying to clean up some of your code.
Yeah, that is cool. And funny thing was, yesterday we're in a meeting, we're pushing some code, and that's when we realized that something that was done a long time ago was misspelled. We're like, wow, that's stuck in there now. The refactor is pretty good for this one. But yeah, the dictionary is really cool though, because yeah, you do see lots of squigglies for all those weird names that you might have. So being able to do a dictionary and even sharing them between projects or whatever would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and you'll have plenty. You'll have plenty of words that you want to add to your dictionary. You don't want to keep the notices and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, you just start to ignore them, and then they don't become useful anymore. So that's why I like that you could easily add the words to it. But yeah, I'll have to look into more about how to make maybe a central or shared one between projects, because I'm not sure where it stores the words for the dictionary. So I'll have to look into that more. But I've been using this one for a while. I do like it. And again, it was just funny because yesterday it happened where somebody typoed something, and we just didn't even realize until it was already in the code for like 6 months. We're like,
Was this
oops.
like in an API or something? So it's something you just cannot change at this point.
I mean, I'm sure they could. It's just funny that we're worried about something else, and then we just noticed the glaringly obvious misspelling that we're like, whoops. It's just funny. Because we're sort of trying to fix a bug, and then we see the other thing before we see the bug. But yep, just the way it works. So, but yeah, that's a good one. It's a code spell checker. There you go. That's your VS Code hint tip trick of the week. Code spell checker in VS Code. Okay, next up we have our Patreon supporters. So these people are individually supporting our open source initiatives, and without them we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do. So the contributions basically go help fund our cloud infrastructure that the community relies upon. So I can't imagine working without CommandBox, without package management, without ForgeBox anymore. Like, it's just so scary to think about having to do it without that. And so their support allows us to keep doing it. And if you want to find out more, patreon.com/ordersolutions will show you all the different packages. And on there, it has a few perks, and we'll highlight some of the best ones now. So remember, we do have annual memberships. So if you pay for the year, you do save 10%. It's end of the year budget time. If you guys want to, help us out and cash in some of the unused budget, which no one ever has, but if you do, go for it. And then if you do get certain packages, the bronze packages up now get the ForgeBox Pro account, and the CFCast subscription is a perk for their Patreon subscription. Everybody who's a Patreon gets a profile badge on the community website, and we also have a special private forum access on the community website. And there's also a private channel in the Box team Slack as well, so you guys can reach out and bug us, ask us some questions. We'll ask you guys stuff before we release sometimes, or we want to get you a taste test, or ask your opinion. So it's a great way just to have that closer connection with the team. So we appreciate each and every one of you. But we do have our top Patreons, which we want to highlight now because we can't read them all. Sorry, there's too many. But Grant will go through and we'll read through the name of our top Patreons now.
So John Wilson with Synaptrix, we've got Tomorrow's Guides, Jordan Clark, Gary Knight, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, Dan Card, James Moberg, and Jeffrey McGee with Sunstar Media, Dean Maunder, Kevin Wright, Doug Kane, Nolan Irk, and Abdul Rahim. So thank you guys for your support of what we do. And it means a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep, we really do. Again, 59 patrons now. It's amazing. We really do appreciate it. And hopefully, again, like I said, we get you guys to sign up to those early bird blind ticket discounts for ITB so we can see you next year. And hopefully we can get to meet more of our patrons in person. So thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll catch you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good Christmas.
You too.
Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.